bit wet.
We are live 364 days a year.
What are we doing here?
If Dom turns at SummerSlam, I'm shaving my moustache off. I've told you, if that happens, it's going. My lip is cold because of a stupid bet that I made with YouTube.
Oh, good.
Wrestle's better than Daniel Bryan Daniels. Better than Okada.
I'm not getting sushi after Monday Night Raw.
Good evening from Swansea, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are watching Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. It is just one day after WWE's Saturday night's main event for May 2025, and a show which was filled with a lot of adverts. In fact, so many adverts that you guys might have noticed that originally I wasn't meant to be on the show today. It was meant to be Shard. But we were just so fuming after last night's watch-along, I've had to send him on a trip today to the NBC studios to just go there and to just basically pick a fight with them, to give them a piece of our mind. 11 advert breaks, or 10 to 11 advert breaks in 2 hours, all of them 4 minutes. What an absolute joke. But enough about that. We're not talking about the adverts today. I've already complained enough about it. I've got it off my chest. Instead, what we are going to be talking about is everything else that happened on the show, and I have a phenomenal panel to do it with me. And let's kick things off with the man who 7 days from now is going to be taking on David Sheldon in the final of the King and Queen of the Quiz tournament show at Wrestling Republic. It is Canada's favorite Canadian. In some circles, he is known as Mr. G, but to us, he is Coby Galenzoski. How are you?
Doing pretty good, of course. This is the WR Daily. This is right after Saturday night's main event, and it was by far the weakest Saturday night's main event of the last few that they've given us. And I mean, the review on the website does continue to share that same sentiment. It's a rough thing, but there are at least some interesting talking points to talk about, and I'm glad to be here and to be able to talk about them. So, on to the next.
Absolutely. It's going to be a fun one, and for a fun show, we need a fun guy, and oh boy, do we have one all the way from Scotland. We have Soul. How are you today, Soul?
Oh, fun guy. Blessed for that kind of accolade there. But I mean, that picture of Shad there, quite captured in 4K resolution there. He kind of reminds me of like the guy you would see in, nightclub toilets who offers you sanitary towels or like little extras, just sitting there like, yes, this is our finest selection of Sauvage, I believe this is called. I mean, hey, if he gets the ads pulled down, I mean, that's fine there. But I mean, I know people are here for my take, but if you want my take, you're going to have to get it from a sponsorship of my own. And I don't have no sponsors, sadly. I'm just taking the mic. But yeah, this show was bad. I'm going to go off on pretty much nearly every match here because this show was pointless. I hated it. I didn't stay up to watch it because A, I was tired from work, and B, I'm glad I got my sleep because watching it throughout the day, I was bored. I really didn't care for any of this. There's a lot of bad on this. There's a lot of bad on this.
A lot of hot takes out of the gates today by Soul. I am looking forward to hearing all of them. But before we get into everything, let's go to the comment section. We have Bobby Batito. Shout out B Squared. We've also got Roundhead in the comments saying Arsenal, absolutely. Second place again this season. Next year, hopefully better, but shout out to the women's team who did manage to get the job done last night, and Fernando Zayas as well in the comments. Good afternoon, evening, or morning, depending on where you are. Right, let's jump head first, shall we, lads? Bronson Reed has joined Seth Rollins. He helped Rollins and Breakker defeat CM Punk and Sami Zayn last night. I mean, I'm going to be honest, some people did see this coming, but I certainly didn't. Soul, I'm going to go to you first on this one. What were your thoughts?
I didn't see this coming at all, but I believe, Allison, you did a take on the Wrestling Public Instagram about it not being a younger member, if I'm correct.
Yeah, so I said basically that I thought that this faction was going to be a bunch of young stars like Evolution, but it's not going that way, but I do think he is a nice fit to the group.
So I agree. Nice fit to the group. You have Braun, who's sort of like, I see it kind of like Pokemon Evolution. Seth's the starter, Braun's the middle one, and Bronson Reed's the big, large one at the end. So it's a nice evolution line there. Very wholesome. But not being a younger guy, I think that's fine because of main reason like this. You're I think WWE's main focus right now is the moment right now, not thinking about the future, in my personal opinion. We've seen it a lot from their recent booking, focusing on things in the moment now and obviously capturing that generational style, which is obviously fast-moving clips, reduced runtime for things, and just catching general people's attention, right? So I think Bronson's absolutely fine for this group. I know a lot of people wanted like Austin Theory or wanting to be like Evolution. And the thing is that, you can't repeat something once before because everyone's just going to compare it. They could have done it like that. They could have been like, oh, this is Evolution 2.0, but then everyone would just compare it to Evolution. The match itself, I think, was fine. I thought it was a good showing from all 4 men in it. It's probably the second best match of the night for me personally. But Bronson being part of this group, I think is interesting. I wonder where it's going to go. Is Bronson and Braun going to be a tag team? Is Seth going to go for singles gold? I don't think any of them are in Money at the Bank at the moment. I think Seth's got a qualifying match, I believe.
Yeah, he does tomorrow.
So I think Seth is the very interesting one to have Money in the Bank, because if WWE really does like to bait on nostalgia, redo what they did in 2015, or was it, when Seth had like Jamie Noble and Joey Mercury as his little henchmen, and you could kind of recapture that with a modern era if you really want to do nostalgia. But I think that's a bad move to go, because you shouldn't harken too much on the past, create things new in the moment. But nonetheless, interesting group. Where do they go? Because they really need to keep a good momentum, and I hope Money in the Bank showcases that.
I do agree with you there. And we got Moist over on Instagram who's saying, do you think there will be one more? I personally do. You mentioned Austin Theory, so I hope he is the 4th man, because I think them together, I think it's going to work. Not tomorrow. I think they need to wait another month or 2. And then them together, I think would work well.
Tell you what I want something in this group to do that no real other big faction does: include a woman in it. Do it. Actually have the balls to do it. Because fair enough to the Death Riders. The Death Riders aren't a faction to a lot of people, but at least they have Marina Shafir in there. A bit of female representation as the heavy guard, right?
Yeah.
Bloodline had nothing, right? DX had China obviously in the past. NWO never really had anything outside of Miss Elizabeth. Immortal, Fortune from TNA. Bullet Club, I think, only had 1 female member who was in there for a week, and then nothing happened, right? Actually have the grip to do something and add somebody in with that faction group, who I don't know, maybe an NXT call-up that could work in that sort of faction if they're doing big men, big women like Zarya from NXT, but actually have the true grip and the balls to actually be like, all right, fine, you want this faction to be different? We'll put a woman in it and we'll give her a good showcase, because no other factions really do that end up getting immortalized.
I actually like that. Great shout there, Saul. But Coby, what's your thoughts on this situation?
The thing is, I never shared the same sentiment that it should be Theory, and I know that's been something Ben's been harking on for weeks, but I just don't see it. Theory needs a face run. We've seen a lot of things go wrong with Theory, where they've overpushed him, they've underutilized him. The fans want to cheer Austin Theory, and that's the point we need to realize. Okay, we need to push forward with that. But at the task of hand, this was a surprise. I do think this helps, and this continues the entire story. Seth is always 2 steps ahead. Seth continues to be this mastermind of the moment. He has his group. Now he has a second bigger guy, and now he has Bronson Reed now with his cause. I do think what they have to do is they have to explain it. Whenever this is addressed, if it's hopefully it's tomorrow or at least the week after, where they sit there and go, well, why did Bronson Reed join this group? And I mean, it's not hard, but you do have to have Bronson Reed go, well, I believe Seth Rollins has the future in mind, blah, blah, blah. Say the same things Seth has said, but you do have to say that, and just not address it. I do think that's what they need to do. But I'm excited for it. It does kind of make it a little bit weird because they do have 2 big guys. Yes, Braun is a lot more speed, has a lot more athleticism and speed, and Bronson just has the power and can do a little bit of the athleticism, but does just mainly focus on him being a heavy hitter. But I'm interested in it. I do think there has to be a 4th. I would say the obvious one is Becky Lynch, but the characters are definitely different if we were to go for a female representative in this group. So I don't know who they would bring in, but I would be interested in that, of course, as well.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I don't completely understand this idea that there can only be one heavyweight or one muscle. There have been so many factions over the years which have had, two people who are the muscle in the faction. And I don't think this is going to be a 3-person group, by the way. I think this is going to be a modern day Dangerous Alliance. I think we're going to get to, I literally think it's going to be basically a repeat of WCW. I think every couple of months there's going to be a new member added, and we're going to get to about 5 to 7, somewhere in that mix.
Hey, we need to get to 5 for War Games. So,
Yeah,
there's
that's
probably
true.
going to be how many more added.
Yeah, and I do think to Saul's point, I think there are going to be at least, a female competitor or 2 as well. So I think maybe we get to 6 or 7, and 5 of them are men for War Games, and then, 1 or 2 are in the women's division. But we've got quite a few comments here that I want to read out. Fernando, and this is a sentiment a few people have been sharing, wants Trick Williams to be the 4th man. So I can see you don't like that.
The thing with that is that if you're a viewer who watches TNA and WWE, including NXT, right? You get 2 versions of Trick. He's clearly a face on NXT programming and a heel on TNA programming. So it shows that he can do both roles very well, right? But I don't know if, were people very hot on Carmelo Hayes? Somebody who actually maybe needs it a bit more, who's been basically thrown to the side as like the toy that Triple H doesn't want to play with anymore.
He's got something going on now, to be fair, Mello.
Yeah, but he's not on the level that a lot of people thought he was. If you compare him to NXT, completely different.
No, that's a good point. But I think now they are starting to, put the pedal down.
I think the thing is, though, with factions like this, and that's going to get prominent storylines, you should use people you already have on the main roster. Don't look down at the new shiny toys in NXT and want to play with those. Play with the toys you have just now. Enjoy them. Use them, right? Don't go into the toy chest. You've got your toys out. Play with those.
Bobby Batito says he could see Bronson Reed win the Intercontinental Championship. Certainly something down the line for sure. Mal says, sucks we aren't getting CM Punk versus John Cena at Money in the Bank. I mean, we'll get into that in just a minute, I am sure. But before we do, we need to talk about this match. Zelina Vega versus Chelsea Green. I'm a fan of both of these. I think they are fantastic wrestlers. Off nights happen. Last night was very clearly an off night for them. My theory is that they were against the clock. I think they were told to, hurry up. They didn't have much time. They had to do a lot with very little time. And I think the pressure got to them a little bit. And I just think it was a rare miss. But hey, from here, get back up on your feet and go again. Sol, what was your thoughts?
To immediately start off, I'm not trying to put any negatives towards Zelina Vega or Chelsea Green. I think they're both fine wrestlers, both great people. But this match was pointless, right? Nobody came away from this match good. The Women's United States Championship didn't come and look good and good. Vega didn't look good. Chelsea Green got injured. She got injured like an Englishman walking into a Scotsman's bar asking for a mocktail. The whole representation of women didn't get really look good at, because they look at Cage Match, people's reviewing bombing this thing to high heavens. People on IWC are going negative, and of course IWC is IWC. But this, I'm sorry to say, but this match didn't need to happen that night, right? You had 4 other matches with the top male stars, and with how much advertising we had that night as well, this was just crammed in there, and nobody looked good coming out of this. Nobody went into this match and came out a bigger star or had bigger stock or got a good representation. They walked away with a lot of people being negative towards them in harmful ways and in critically negative ways. I'm fully critical to the people who booked this match, not the competitors in it, the people who booked this match. You didn't need it, right? And to say how it's the state of women's wrestling as well within the WWE's main roster, maybe it's not showcased the best with what they've got here, especially with the mid-card level. Yeah, you had the great Intercontinental match with Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch, which a lot of people didn't expect. You've obviously got Rhea Ripley, who's basically the top wrestling star above men and women dominating right now. But then we have Evolution 2 announced during this night, and it was announced in like a package deal. No great hype video, no poster showcase, just, there it is, on you go there. It's like, you give it meaning, right? I mean, I'm sorry, you should have saved this match to Evolution 2, right? let this match be what this card be what it was with all the men on it and have that showcase, and it would have run a bit better with timing, right? I'm sorry. I'm saying it is there.
I think in 2025 you have to have a women's match on the card. I think there is zero excuse. Now you could argue that you need to build it better, but which I completely agree with. But you have to have a women's match on the card.
But even to the detriment of the production of the card, where how much WWE had advertising there, matches being like this was 5 minutes and 1 second. Truth and Cena was like 4 minutes. The other matches went around double digits, except Jay and Logan Paul, which I think went 9, if I believe, right? So the card was a mess, timing-wise, across the board.
I agree with that.
Would this have helped in possible? I don't know, because that's a hindsight in 2020, looking into a possible future that we don't have, right? But clearly, when I saw this card being announced, and it was 4 matches with a steel cage match stipulation on it as well, and a tag team match as well, I was like, okay, 4-card match for an NBC special, that more into it, and it's like, okay, now we're getting a bit messy here. I understand some people are like, well, you have to have a women's match, I think cards should come across to your viewers, right, of how it should flow. If you add more, say we didn't have any, tag team champions represented this night, should we have added them on as well, because we had to really add them on? It's like,
yeah, I mean, listen, I get your point. I do get your point. I'm going to cut you off slightly, Saul, because you are lagging. But yeah, I mean, I do get the point, right? But I think for me personally, you could have put, and I think they should have put the opening tag match or the steel cage as a main event on Raw. Because I think that whatever the angle is, whether the angle was Damian Priest walking out the cage, we'll get to that, or we have a new member in Bronson Reed, I think that being in the Raw main event spot would have actually have been, a huge moment, which I think would have been honestly more effective. I think you should have taken one of those main matches off the card and actually have built up Zelina Vega versus Chelsea Green a little bit more. Bang, you have 4 then. But you do have to have a women's match. You have to have representation. It is important.
Of course, it's important, but you want it to actually be good representation. Was this good representation for Zelina Vega and Chelsea?
No, and that's what I'm saying. No, book it better.
And you shouldn't have done it. You shouldn't have done it with what the card
you
had.
No, book it better. Just do it better.
Put a main event on SmackDown or something like that. You can give them other opportunities and other. This card was a mess.
A better story on the actual show.
They didn't come away better than this. People are messing with them online.
Yeah, I agree with you, but that doesn't mean that there shouldn't have been a women's match. What it means is they should have just done a better women's match. A match with more build and with more time.
Well,
but there was none.
There wasn't then. So we have to.
There wasn't any. There wasn't any.
Well, that's my point. They should have done it in the last few weeks.
Well, they didn't.
They could and should have.
That's clearly not WWE's priority.
It should have been.
We can say we want this and that, and this is what they should view it on. Clearly, this is not WWE's priority. It's not their priority. People want to say this and that. I don't think it's their priority, right? There'll be Evolution 2, and that will be a great showcase for women. I think it's happening in the United States as well, which is great. You've got that weekend, and they'll great. I hope they get a good showcase on that, right? I hope the women's at the United States, the Intercontinental, all the NXT. I hope they give a good showcase to what the women have there, because outside of the main events with the World Championship and the WWE Championship, everything else has been a bit subpar. NXT, of course,
I
still
agree.
Thrives. So it's weird to say that NXT does it well, but the main roster does it well.
And I agree. He needs to learn lessons from Shawn Michaels, his creative team.
I'm saying it again. Nobody came away good from this match. It shouldn't have happened. You would have at least had some good stock with these guys, but clearly their stock has been diminished by some parts of the IWC.
They'll be fine. They'll be fine. It happens to all wrestlers. And I will say this, because this has been a big point today. I can't remember who it was. I wish I could remember their name on Twitter, and it was a big Twitter thread earlier on. But listen, whenever women make mistakes in matches, people turn on them a lot quicker than they turn on men when men make mistakes in matches. I mean, Logan Paul actually made a botch which was worse than that Zelina Vega 619, and nobody's even talking about that. I mean, it is just it's absolutely wild to me. But anyway, let's move on.
His face was busted, and that's probably a bit worse for some people's mindset. If you're seeing somebody bloody, then
everybody gets busted up. That's part of wrestling. The 619 was a 10 times bigger issue than the nose getting busted. That's just part of wrestling. That happens.
The 619 caused the nose to get busted.
Yeah, but I'm saying the look of the 619 is worse than the actual nose being blasted. That's what I'm saying.
How?
because it's like,
Because
wow,
that's what
I
people.
mean,
Nobody's
comparing
gonna.
the
I mean,
clip
Becky
to
Lynch
a
got a busted
photo.
nose, and that made her into a star. The busted nose isn't the issue. The issue is the botched move looking
because
stupid.
Becky Lynch went up the crowd stage and actually posed very well with it. Chelsea Green got busted open and then pinned.
Well, yeah, and then look on what she done social media after. She's immediately turning this into a storyline.
Yeah,
Does
on
it better
social
than
media.
anybody.
On social media, it wasn't on Saturday's main event.
Well, we can see where this goes now because I think this could lead to something very, very big for Chelsea. But I want to talk about R-Truth. I want to talk about John Cena because this was easily, without a shadow of a doubt, the match of the night for me personally in terms of fun, right? Not in ring, obviously, but in terms of fun. And we were saying this on the watch along too. This was the only 5 minutes during the entire show that we were like, yes, please. This is a hell of a lot of fun. We were enjoying it. R-Truth dressing up as John Cena. It was hilarious, Coby. Let me know your take.
I mean, it's exactly what it needed to be, and then it is funny. You had him have the custom merch saying it's Ron Cena. It's fun. It's enjoyable. The crowd was there. They didn't boycott it, which is what she needed. It's definitely not something we would have went 6 months ago. Yeah, John Cena is going to have one of his last matches against R-Truth. And it's no knock on R-Truth at this point, but we're in the position where this is the weird thing. It delivered. It did what it needed to do. It gave us a moment of John Cena hesitating before when the ref had his back turned, giving him the low blow. It did what it needed to do. It established as John Cena's this heartless thing. And I do think I was expecting an angle after this match, but we got the angle later in the card because John Cena wasn't done. John Cena was able to have a backstage segment with Jey Uso and went, I want to ruin wrestling. And a YouTuber with a world championship would ruin wrestling. And that, to be fair, it tickles me. It's a little bit, it is fun. But I mean, this match is what it needed to be. It might have been a little too long because it could have just been a ball game. But Truth got the 5 moves of doom and the crowd was there. It was fun. It was enjoyable. It's arguably a better match than the WrestleMania main event.
Actually, I don't think I disagree with you, Coby. I had a lot more fun watching this, and it felt like this delivered. So yeah, I'm on the same page as you. But now let's move on to something where I think I am on a different page to quite a lot of people, apart from the crowd, who I think were on the same page as me. And that's Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. Minus the commercials interrupting it every 5 seconds. I really enjoyed this. I love the concerto spot at the end. I thought, Damian Priest finally just getting fed up of Drew McIntyre complaining about everything, causing issues constantly, not letting things go, and just Damian Priest snapping was done really well. Great story. My issue, he walked out the door like a coward. The crowd were booing him when he did it, and I just think it just comes across so cowardly. Coby, I'm going to go straight back to you on this one. What were your thoughts?
The thing is I don't know if it. What, like, I mean, are you affected by Jesse Ventura? Like, I don't know what you're going with. Yes, like it's more effort to climb the cage and escape that way.
No, he should have pinned him. Is what I'm saying. Pinned.
I think the damage was done though, and I think that's the point. Is he put him out with the concerto, and yes, they really didn't do a stretcher job because he got up, and I feel like is a weird decision in its own. But I liked it. He did the damage. He put him out, and he said what he was going to do. He said Drew McIntyre wasn't leaving that cage. He was, and he did. He got his pound of flesh. Damian Priest gets it. I think we are on our I think this is the chance that they can take this match and turn this into a double turn. The fans very much love Drew McIntyre, and this could be what helps us get Priest back to a heel position. I do think Drew is taking a bit of time off. They kind of wrote him off with that concerto. They aren't just going to have him no sell it and show up on Monday. I liked the match. I probably thought this was the match of the night because I just enjoyed what they did in this match. It's not anything where, this is the greatest steel cage match of all time, but it was enjoyable. It was good. They had really good moments. You played on to the finish of WrestleMania with the Claymore into the chair in the corner, which was countered. I liked that. I'm a sucker for using the past that they did. They they attempted to trade finishers. Well, Priest tried a Claymore but didn't hit it. I thought it was a really good match. I'm excited for it. I just don't know where Priest goes from here, other than is he next for Jacob Fatu? Like, I don't know. Like, you got to do something with him, because you just gave him this big win on Drew McIntyre. And if the third match is, say, SummerSlam, there's still some time where Priest has to do something, and I just don't know what that is. If that is, I do think they announced. I don't think they announced the 3 in the Money in the Bank, so maybe he is in a Money in the Bank qualifier, which I don't think he wins. But like, he does need something, and I think that'd be
I do agree.
Kind of main point coming out.
No, I think that's a fascinating one to make, and I am on the same page there. The only thing I disagree with you on is the fact that they were cheering for Priest towards the end of the match. The crowd was more so on Priest's side. It was, a little mixed, but it was more on Priest's side. Priest hits that concerto. The crowd erupts, cheering, going nuts for him. He then opens the door, and as he opens the door, they start booing. He walks out. They just overload with boos. That's what my point is. Like, it's not just, this isn't just a me thing on this one. That crowd, that venue felt like what he was doing was cowardly, and it felt like something that they were displeased with. And if they do a double turn, fair enough. I'm just not entirely sure that is the direction they're going in.
No, I don't think it is either. But I think they could easily do it.
Yeah. Oh, they could for sure. So what about you? What do you think about this?
I hope Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre never have a match again this year. I really liked their match at WrestleMania 41. It was very enjoyable. I thought that this match here was the match of the night. About the cowardice thing, right? It's a steel cage stipulation match, right? What more way to degrade somebody than just walk away? I kind of symbolize it as Priest thinking of my head, I could just pin you here right now, but you know what? I'm going to be the better man and just walk away. We've shed enough blood. We've beaten each other to pulps. We've been injured for this and that. I'm just going to walk away. Just walk away and put it in my past. Crowd booing, yeah, it's one crowd, right? It's one crowd. Who's going to remember it by next Friday? No one's going to really care, right? What about Drew is the big thing for me. What does Drew do here? Now, not Money in the Bank, absolutely not. Not in the world title picture. Not even the WWE Championship picture. Not even the Intercontinental. I think for Drew McIntyre, you do one or two things. You could do the United States Championship to get the Grand Slam, and that'd be a really cool thing for him. And you'd be like his whole thing of pushing to get that, because he'd be like, oh, Sheamus never got his IC, so I'm going to beat him to it. Ha, troll, something like that. Or something I would like, because you've had Drew so much time on the main roster as being the ultimate hater, the main feud with Raw, with them being Punk and SmackDown being Damian Priest, take him somewhere else. Somewhere else you can harken back to a little bit of the past. I would put him in NXT being an invader to TNA to challenge Joe Hendry. Two Scottish boys, past with ICW, have that. They could harken on the past and what they've done there. It'd be something new and it'd be something fresh. And I think if someone who knows ICW's history, knows what these two lads have gone through together in the past, in that ICW environment, to bring it to a new stage here in the States and do it on NXT or TNA programming would be something cool and unique. I doubt they'll do it because, they're so iffy with, putting main roster people down to NXT and actually feud with the TNA people of NXT. So, I don't know if they'll do it. I just think it'd be a little cool thing because I think Drew McIntyre as this ultimate hater heel thing has run its course. I think you really do need to switch it up for him. So I think it's a possibility. Will he do it? Probably not, but it's a possibility. You have it there.
Honestly, I love that idea. I hope they do it because it's really creative. And like you said, there's a lot of things you can cover. But to your point as well, I agree. I don't think they will do it. I think McIntyre's on too much money and he's too much of, investment for them to really, send to wrestle a talent from another company in like a big program like that. Who knows? I hope I'm wrong on that. But that is just the feeling I get. But I hope you're right, Saul, because that sounds great. Mal said, seems like Drew McIntyre might be out for a while after suffering that. He could well be. David Marge is surprised he lost. Fernando says the cage match was fire, but not pinning him and just walking out the cage was a lame finish. I agree, Fernando. People are divided on this one. It is one way or the other for sure. And David March is glad Cody is back. So let's just get on to that one, shall we? Let's talk about the main event. Main event, Jey Uso versus Logan Paul. Listen, we've complained about the ads a lot. This match felt like it was 75% ads. It really, I don't know the stat for it, but this match just felt like it was battered, absolutely battered by adverts. And I didn't think it was Logan Paul's greatest showing. I thought he had a little bit of an off day, but again, against the clock, it is a difficult position to be in. But even still, I didn't think it was great. But of course, it was what happened at the end of the match, which is the most noteworthy thing. To your point earlier, Coby, John Cena wants to ruin wrestling. So he tried to help a YouTuber win the world championship. But I did think that was quite poetic. I did like it. Obviously, then Cody came back. He returned and he said, me and Jey, yeet, versus Logan Paul and John Cena at Money in the Bank. So I'm going to head to you first on this one. What was your immediate reaction to all of this?
The match is what it is. It was a match. Two things, right? Quickly, obviously Cody coming back. I'm surprised he's back so early. And no sort of like, hinting or teasing, Cena kind of, making a mockery of him would be interesting, but he's just back. I mean, hey, that, it's one way to make people actually tune into Saturday Night's main events and deal with all these ads. You never know what's going to happen. A tag team match on Money in the Bank, though, I personally, in my opinion, this hurts Jey Uso on the World Heavyweight Championship, right? I'm the kind of guy that I always like to see, especially with WWE and, AW and TNA, I like to see at least a World Championship being defended on every pay-per-view. It's my personal thing, right? I like it. I like a fighting champion. I like one that will always turn up and do a fight. And it makes me care more about cards when they have the world championships on them, whether it's WWE World Heavyweight or AW or TNA or New Japan, whatever, right? I like the one of the main titles being on the card. Jey Uso as World Heavyweight Champion has not hit it for me. I can fully say he's over. He's loved by the crowd. He's selling merchandise. He is absolutely doing that. But as a champion, I don't think he hits it. I would have loved him to do a fatal four-way defense on Money in the Bank or something like that, just to actually prove people wrong with the work rate or the championship status that he can do good things for it. I think the World Heavyweight's on a downturn from like what we had in the 2010 eras of where it was just bad. I don't like I know some people said, the Money in the Bank matches should be the showcase, and that's absolutely fair. They are the big selling point. It is Money in the Bank. It's a stipulation pay-per-view. That is fair. But for the World Heavyweight Championship, which is obviously a fresh belt, still, some people say no, it's not, but it's still a fresh belt. You should give it defenses, and it'd be interesting. I will say, though, it would be very interesting for the Money in the Bank situation. You've got both champions in a match on that night. If this opens, be interesting, but means nothing of it. But the men's Money in the Bank opens the show, and we know this match is in the future. That puts a lot of excitement in for me, because I then know, well, is someone going to cash in and be like, which one do I go for? Can I cash in that opportunity? I think you could. Who would it be? It's just going to be very fascinating. Like, what could happen in that situation? Now, the second thing is obviously John Cena. A lot of people wanted the Punk Money in the Bank, harking back to the day. Well, sadly, we haven't got that. I think Punk and Cena might be the last match of this tour. It might even happen in Saudi, because it's probably one of the biggest matches you can do besides a Cody Rhodes.
Punk's been withdrawn from the adverts for Saudi, by the way, officially.
Hey, maybe could still show up. Don't know. WWE be like, hey, we need you. You have to bark when you get told to whistle, mate. But let's talk about Cena's retirement turn. I think it's been absolute pish. I don't like John Cena's retirement run right now. I think they've wasted it. I think hitting right off the bat with Randy thing, it was a good start. Not a lot of people liked the matches. I know our own David Sheldon hated it. But it's a nostalgia tour. You should be doing that. Then the one with R-Truth on this show, like, I thought was a waste because of what it was timing-wise. I think it should have been taken seriously. I know a lot of people like R-Truth, but I feel like this should have been where he, stops being a mockery of himself and just actually digs deep. This guy is a former NWA World Heavyweight Champion, something that John Cena's never done, something that CM Punk's never done, Seth Rollins never done. The only other person on this card that's done it was Cody Rhodes. Like, he should be taken a bit more seriously for this match. And the fact that it's non-title as well just really grinds my gears as well, right? But like, you don't have many times like so the whole thing about like, oh, he's got 27 or 23 dates. You should never have done that. You should have just had a countdown. Imagine you had a countdown until the end of the year, where it's like John Cena leaves or retires. It's just a countdown that appears on some of the Raws or the SmackDowns, the PLEs, and it's always just that looming threat. Making it dates just makes it worse, because they've been releasing like this last tour John Cena merchandise from cities that he's never even appeared in. It's like, well, what's the point? It's just silly in my mind. I think it's just a waste of what you have there with the biggest cash cow in John Cena, and you could have milked this retirement run with doing like the Randy Orton in this last city as well, like, oh, the one last time. It was like, why handicap yourself like that when you have a whole year left? And R-Truth's not being taken seriously, and then you're going to
they don't have a whole year left. They have just over 6 months.
Yeah, but still plenty of time. How many things can you do in 6 months? You could probably read.
Well, he's only got like 20, isn't it? Like 23 dates now?
Which they never should have done that. They never.
I like it. I like the fact because it makes it feel more imminent.
No, it handicaps yourself, because you're going to get wasted moments like this in a tag team match where you should actually have something big.
He was going to have those dates anyway. Whether they showed it or not, all showing it does is make it feel like the threat's looming. And I love it. I think that's the best thing they've done. I agree in terms of I think they've rushed this too much. But I like what they've done. But
I don't think so, because then people are going to be very critical of the appearances and be like, well, this could have been this, or this could have been that. We could have been doing something else.
I think they would have been like that if they didn't show the dates.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
I want to give Coby a second. I want to find out your thoughts on last night's main event, Coby.
Okay, last night's main event, I mean, it wasn't good. It was all right. It did what it needed to do. The thing is I sat here and it's like, okay, so there's 15 minutes left, and we're just getting Jey Uso's entrance, and then they cut off half of Jey Uso's entrance because of ad breaks, and then like this was a product of the 5-match Saturday night's main event, which two of the 3 since the concept has returned have had the 5-match, and they've sucked. This is the tough part. January was the best show they've had of the 3, and this was the weakest. This main event felt rushed. The finish was feeling rushed because it was like, okay, well, we got 1 minute exactly, and everything. Oh, we just got the finish, and Cody had to do his a little promo where he set up the match. It's storytelling. It works. It's the thing is Soul opened the show saying this was a waste of time. No, it wasn't, because Cody Rhodes returned. And that's the thing that I can sit here and say happened. It did. It wasn't a waste of time. It advanced certain things like the Seth Rollins stuff, like the like Damian Priest over beating Drew McIntyre. And of course, this match, Cody Rhodes returns. We set up this Money in the Bank match. I wonder with the rumors of Travis Scott's involvement, if they've changed it to no Travis Scott. To be fair, I like this tag match more than involving Travis and then whatever third party for Cody Rhodes' team. But the biggest thing that I realized right now is, and this is your big reel if you want it, Ben. There are 2 brand driving storylines right now. We have John Cena on SmackDown trying to ruin wrestling, and we have Seth Rollins on Monday Night Raw talking about the future. This is your biggest ball drop, because you have 2 storylines that are the polar opposites. And what are they going to do? They've been separated. This is going to be an issue, because I think we are so telegraphing that John Cena is just going to put over Cody Rhodes in the end, where Seth Rollins' entire angle and storyline is, I'm here, I'm the guy that can take this brand and this company into the future. And you have John Cena going, I want to ruin wrestling. I want to end the lineage of the WWE Championship. This is a major plot hole, because these 2 people should be heated rivals. And I don't know if that's coming, but I do think it needs to come. Otherwise, and then if it doesn't, it's a big plot hole. It's a missed opportunity if 2 polar opposite storylines never cross in any way. And I think
Fantastic point.
That's the weirdest thing that I
Fantastic.
came out of last night thinking about. I'm like, we have two polar opposites, and what are we doing here?
Yeah, obviously
Well,
both heels, but even still, you are right from a kayfabe perspective. That shouldn't matter. I mean, it is.
It shouldn't matter.
I didn't even think of it. That is fantastic.
It's the big, and like, this is the thing. I don't want this to become, oh, we're just chugging wheels until Cody Rhodes beats John Cena at the end of the year.
I don't think that's happening.
I'm at the point where I
think it's Punk. I think it's Punk.
My guess is Punk, but you can, even from a narrative standpoint, you could argue Seth should be the guy.
Yeah,
he's the one that wants to take this company into the future. He's arguably the one that should beat John Cena.
Wait a second, Coby. What if Seth Rollins wins Money in the Bank? Cena goes all the way to his last day, faces CM Punk in his final match. And at that point, Cena does beat CM Punk. They do the kiss, all that. But unlike Del Rio, Rollins does cash in successfully. And when just before the clock hits midnight, Seth Rollins cashes in and saves the company. And then perhaps you can rerun Seth and Punk or something like that.
Could I offer one alternative to that, Allison? I think would be
very quickly.
Have him cash in, counting down to the minute. Obviously, won't be on midnight, but Seth maybe curse stomp Cena, or Cena doesn't aid to Seth, but Punk gets the win because it makes it a triple threat. So Punk can then come in and get the win, and he does the Money in the Bank, harking back, blows a kiss, and walks away.
No, I'd prefer the idea of Seth winning, because if Rollins wins, then Rollins hasn't saved. If Seth wins, then Rollins. No, if Punk wins, then Rollins hasn't saved wrestling, has he either? So I don't know.
Save wrestling.
That's his entire thing. That's his story.
His entire gimmick is he wants to be the guy to take the company into the future.
Yeah.
And if John Cena is going, I want to ruin wrestling and end the lineage of the WWE Championship, these guys should be bitter rivals. And if Seth ends up with a babyface turn at the end of the year, I think that's what you'd have to do. But it doesn't make too much sense. But it almost
I mean, listen, I don't know I don't think they're going to do it. But to Kobe's point,
I don't
they should do it. It makes perfect sense. Very quickly, before we send this home, I want to read out a couple of comments here. John thinks the men's Money in the Bank will cash in on the same night at Money in the Bank. Yeah, I could see that happening. Bobby says anything could happen. We've also got Fernando saying, I don't think Punk should be pressured into... I mean, we don't really know what's going on with that, to be fair. But he is not crazy about neither championship being defended at Money in the Bank either. I mean, that is true, but I reckon it's going to lead to Jey Uso versus Cena. I think it was you said it, so Cena versus... Jey Uso, title versus title, not title versus title, non-title match, but the Crown Jewel Championship, that's the one, and Night of Champions.
It's in Crown Jewel, it's in Australia.
But I reckon they're going to do it in Saudi at Night of Champions anyway. It's so dumb.
It's at the Crown Jewel Championship.
Because they said they're not they said the belt doesn't leave Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, so they just do the ring.
It's so dumb.
Then I don't think it's
so dumb.
I don't think they're going to do the Crown Jewel Championship then.
I reckon they're going to do it at Night of Champions. I think this is what they're setting up now. They're going to do it.
Championships. Yeah. They'll give them the rings, and maybe they'll record something at Night of Champions where everyone there, and they'll do the little movie trickery, like, oh no, they're here, but it was technically recorded months ago because we're just going to screw.
No, I reckon. No, seriously. Between Money in Bank and SummerSlam, the pay-per-view is the Saudi one. So I reckon at that the pay-per-view they're going to do the Crown Jewel Championship, even though it's not Crown Jewel. It is so stupid. I think they're going to do it.
Look, I think WWE is an idiot company sometimes, but they're not that stupid.
Watch it happen. They might rename the title. That's what I reckon they might do. But I think they're doing it.
Prediction record's terrible, like Arsenal's win-loss record.
Oh, well, that's not what are you on about. That's terrible. We're the second best in the country. We're the best European we're best proper European in the country as well, because we're not counting flipping.
Everyone gets a participation trophy.
Oh, ha ha ha. Anyway, guys, that does bring us to the end. What are you saying, Saul? You're a Rangers fan. You're used to second place. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. We will see you guys same place, same time tomorrow to review Double or Nothing. Have a good one. Bye, 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 bye.